Alma College was a girls' private school in the town of St. Thomas, Ontario, Canada. Built in 1878, the school was in operation between 1881 and 1988. The college closed in 1988, in part due to a teachers' strike. Primary school and music classes were still taught on campus until 1994. Following its closure, the school building was used as a set for several movie productions, including Silent Hill, the made-for-TV movie Mr. Headmistress, and its image included in the film Orphan. The building was destroyed by two teenage boys committing arson on May 28, 2008. The smoke could be seen as far away as downtown London, the nearest city to St. Thomas. Before and after the school burnt down, it was reported to be haunted. In this video, I'll be visiting the grounds where the school once stood, named Alma College Square, where I'll be attempting to contact any lingering spirits. Of the reports about Alma's hauntings that I found online, I came across this Reddit thread, this comment under a WordPress post about Alma, and this excerpt about Alma's hauntings in a page dedicated to the different haunted places in St. Thomas. This is a write-up that finally put a name to one of the reported spirits, Angela, who is said to have been a cruel teacher whom the girls locked in one of the towers and was left for dead. I have doubts on this account, but at least I have a name to use when trying to contact any spirits of Alma during my investigation. Some of you watching may be familiar with the YouTube ghost hunter Garrett Watts. In a couple of his recent videos, he recounted a story of a haunted building he grew up near that housed the spirit of an elderly woman. He recalls that the building was demolished and replaced with a spiffy new office building that he visited once and felt there was no longer any paranormal presence, leading to theorizing that if a place changes too much, spirits attached to the grounds may become unattached. I suspect that if Alma College was for sure haunted, the grounds may not be anymore. However, I still want to see if there is any lingering energy, whether it be intelligent or residual. So in terms of the tools that I am working with, I'll first show you. I got an EMF reader, so these read electromagnetic fields, which ghosts can supposedly manipulate. So, as you can see, it is near my phone, so it's going off. But if I were to put it over here, there's nothing here. And people don't set it off. Yeah. So you see there's nothing in front of it, so it's not doing anything. I think that light is just automatic. Oh, okay. And a motion sensor cat ball. I have two of them, actually. Substantial movement. So you see me tapping on it, that does nothing. Me moving it a little bit does nothing. So you gotta really play with it, which is a good thing, because if there's a little bit of wind, that's not gonna do it. It takes substantial movement. I'm also going to be bringing a couple of card decks. So the Halloween Tarot deck, I will be bringing because it is the tarot deck that I've had the longest. It's the first tarot deck that I ever got, and I'm very in tune with it. That is not going to be for communicating with spirits so much as getting a general spiritual reading on the area. This one, the fortune-telling cards, it is a deck full of cards that say yes, no, maybe, ask again, that sort of thing, which I think for communicating to spirits would be a good idea. In Selena Spooky Boo's videos, she has been using a deck of cards similar to this. So, seems like a good idea to me. Lastly, I have this painting of Alma College. So I did this painting using watercolor, which I usually use acrylic, so given that I'm not used to watercolor, I feel like I did a decent job. The reason why I painted this and will be bringing it with me is because since the school no longer exists on the grounds, if there are lingering spirits, I think it would be helpful to use some sort of visual aid to draw them towards me. So that is the purpose of bringing the painting. So for the tarot reading, which was not for connecting to a spirit, but rather getting a reading on the energy in the area, I did it without speaking with the intention of doing a voiceover, because I didn't know how much the construction work going on would mess with my voice, and for the yes or no communicating with the spirit reading from later in the investigation, I ended up just speaking. So for the cards that I drew, the Six of Imps, which is the Six of Wands in regular tarot, was clarified by the Page of Ghosts, which is the Page of Cups. The Six of Imps in the Halloween tarot deck is very subtle movement. That's my interpretation. So it's not like the Six of Swords, which is a little bit more significant, and then the Chariot, which is even more significant movement. The Six of Imps is very subtle, which pertains to the Page of Ghosts. So it means a message. You can see the little envelope there, and the fish is a skeletal fish, but its eye is open, it's got its mouth open like it's smiling or speaking. So the spirit I connected to did communicate, but there was a reluctant feeling there, so I think the Six of Imps being smaller movement than some of the other cards in the deck that represent movement kind of show that willing to communicate but only going so far. The Hanged Man, clarified by the Emperor, gives me the feeling that the knowledge that the students obtained when they attended the school when it was still open, for many of them came with a feeling of not trapped, but just not feeling like they're in the best place. Like the Hanged Man, it's not ideal to be tied upside down, and you can see the Emperor has a chain attached to the seat that's sort of keeping him there, but then you have the flowers sprouting out from the vase with the brain in it. So I think that for a lot of the girls that went to the school, like, yes, it was helping them to broaden their minds, but there was a feeling for many of them that it wasn't the place they wanted to be, and I do think that simply pertains to a lot of them had homesickness. The Queen of Pentacles, which in the Halloween deck you can see there is the Queen of Pumpkins, pertains to financial matters. And the Five of Imps, which is the Five of Wands in regular tarot, represents conflict. So I think there was a lot of conflict based on these cards, and also what I read about the school's history on trying to restore it, because a lot of money went into restoring the building, but with the teachers' union stuff and different local laws, there were some people trying to get the building demolished and other people trying to save it before it ultimately burned down. So this conflicting energy seems to also have been seeped into the grounds themselves. So the clips that I filmed for my actual investigation of the area were against the property fence because the entire square is essentially a private residence. So I had my EMF pointed towards the fence so that it could pick up activity that faced the actual area, the grounds where the school once stood. Now, because there was construction and construction equipment going off, and I don't know if that type of equipment sets off high EMF levels, and if it does, how close it has to be to an EMF reader to go off. So I wanted to say that, but also I did not edit down the clips and create more jump cuts of what you're about to see so that you can see all of it and see that the EMF only went off, at least from what I could see when I filmed it and when I looked at the footage after. It only went off when I asked or when I was talking about making contact and how that could be done, how the device could be used. So even though there are some portions in the clips you're about to see where I go for like 20 seconds without talking, that's because a lot of people were walking by and I noticed that the EMF did not go off when people were walking by. So I thought that that was interesting. So if you're gonna want to skip through some of the pauses that I take in these next clips, that's okay, I understand that, but I wanted to leave all of it in so that you could see what I saw. Alright. I am just going to flat out ask, because there's a lot of construction in the area, and I think the EMF reader might end up getting manipulated by that because of electrical stuff, and I don't know how far that reaches over and messes with electromagnetic fields. So I'm going to specifically ask at specific moments as I'm talking for whoever might be here to reach out and go near the EMF to hopefully set it off. So if there is anyone from Alma College who is attached in spirit form, manipulate the EMF, please. If there is anyone... Oh, hello. Hi. Okay, I noticed that you didn't do anything when someone walked by just now. Can you do that again? You don't need to be shy, you don't need to be afraid. I'm just here to talk. And if you don't want to talk, that is okay too. You can also move these. If you move them significantly enough, the lights will go off. But if you are not comfortable doing that, that is completely okay. I hope that you like the painting that I did of the school. Alright. I'm going to put the first deck of cards that I used away, and I'm going to get out the second, which are yes or no. So you can, you know, through ghost power, manipulate the answers to give me yeses or nos if you don't feel like making this light up. Oh, hi. Hello again. Thank you for that. And I'm just gonna ask some questions, and you don't have to answer them. Please don't feel pressured to, but I would appreciate if you did. So these different cards, they do say ask again, so it's not all yeses or nos. So if you don't want to give a yes or no answer, there are things that say, like, there are cards that say maybe, or, you know, why are you asking me, stuff like that. So if you don't want to answer a question at all, you can decide not to, but I'm going to use this, and hopefully you can try to manipulate it to get certain answers to come out. So are you a spirit who worked at or attended Alma College? Oh, okay. It is likely is the card that came up outright. And of the other three, only one of them was a negative answer, so I'm going to take that as a yes. Alright, and just to show, it is likely. Okay, thank you for answering that. Oh, I just saw, well, just one flipped out that says it is certain. So more confirmation, thank you for that. Are you the spirit named Angela? I'm going to show myself shuffling again. No. No is the answer that came out. Okay. I heard stories about a spirit named Angela when I was researching about the school. And I wanted to ask if Angela was real. So the story associated with her that I heard was that she was a teacher the girls did not like at all, and supposedly she was locked in one of the school towers and left for dead. I have my doubts on that. I don't really believe that, but maybe you can tell me whether it is true or not. So if it's not, no. If it's true, yes. And give me a maybe if Angela was a real person who worked at the school but wasn't killed or wasn't disliked by the students. If any part of that story is wrong, but Angela is a real person, then, you know, that's a maybe. Ooh. It is certain. Wow. Okay. I was not expecting to get a yes. Now, that's interesting. It is certain. So, okay. So the entire story is true then? That the kids locked her in one of the towers and she died? Is that what you're telling me? That is completely true? Okay, so I just shuffled and 0 chance came out. So that's conflicting. Oh, but 2 cards came out and that says no. Okay, so three answers and 2 were a no. So when I asked to confirm after it had given me a yes, I got 2 that said no. So I think the yes was maybe like a, oh yeah, sure, and then these answers were just kidding, no. That's how I'm going to take that. And then bottom of the deck also says not a chance. So, alright, I also would like to ask, and don't feel pressured to say yes, but do you like the painting? By all means. A few cards came out. My reply is no. Most likely, never, possibly, by all means. Okay, 2 out of those 5 said no and the others didn't say no. Okay, so maybe you like it, but not that much. That's how I'm gonna take that answer. Were you a teacher there? Sorry, I want to show myself shuffling each time I take a card, and I have forgotten that the camera can't see everything. That would be a yes. Okay. Were you a female teacher? Because I already forget my other questions, but I think I asked if you were Angela and you said no, otherwise I wouldn't have asked if the story was true. So yeah, you said no. So female teacher, yes or no? Yes. That was a yes. Okay. Did the students like you and vice versa? Did you have a good rapport with the students? Oh, there's one sticking out there. Without questioning. Okay, that's good to hear. Okay, so since you had a good rapport with the students, is that why your spirit is still attached to the grounds? You know, did you not want to leave? Ooh. Okay, signs point to yes. Depends on the day, you shall not. I don't know what you shall not mean, but signs point to yes was the one facing up. Signs point to yes, okay. Still attached to the grounds. Okay, so were you sad when the school burnt down? Ooh, a bunch came out. Okay, this one. No, and weather permitting, it is conceivable under no circumstance. Find your own answer. Negative looks like yes. Okay, I think all those different cards coming out with all those different answers might mean that you feel conflicted. Like maybe you didn't want to be attached to the school forever, but you were also sad that meant that the school got destroyed. You know, maybe you wanted to see the area progress and you wanted to see new buildings, you just didn't want it to happen like that. That is my guess. So is that true, that you feel conflicted? I didn't read those out because someone just walked by. Yes, definitely, and why are you asking me? So I'm just asking because I didn't know if there were any spirits lingering on the grounds for sure. And so now that I do know that someone is here, I just wanted to ask you some questions to kind of figure out why you're still here. I do have another question. Okay, so since you are attached to the grounds, I'm gonna try not to ask you too many more questions because I don't want to bother you, but I would like to know if you decided that you did not want to be attached to the grounds anymore, do you think you would be able to leave if you tried? Do you think, I'm not asking definitively would you be able to, but I'm asking do you think you could? If you wanted to, if you desired to, and you tried to, do you think you would be able to leave? Okay, one flipped out. Indubitably. Quite nice vocabulary, which makes sense for a teacher. Okay, so you think you could leave. Also, guaranteed came out. 2 people just cycled by. Okay. That was a very helpful answer, because it gives me a little bit more insight into how spirits work. I do have a question pertaining not to the school, but to the new buildings, and I'm just curious, do you like the new buildings that are now where the school used to be? Oh! A bunch came out. Okay. Surely not came out, which is interesting. And then, okay. This is also interesting. Yes, when you're ready. So, as you can hear from the construction outside, the buildings are not finished being constructed. So I think, surely not, and yes, when you're ready. I think those are the feelings towards the buildings. Like, I'll be more fond of them when they're completed, since they are not completed now and there's all this noise from construction. That's what I think the answer is. That's my interpretation. So that is all very helpful. I thank you for speaking to me, and if you feel like it, you don't have to. You've already given me more than enough. But if you could make the EMF light up one more time, or if you could move one of those motion sensor balls significantly enough to make them light up, that would be great. I'm not asking for both, I'm just asking for you to do one of those. It would probably be easier to get this to light up, and all you would have to do is go near it. So if you could do either of those, which this would be easier, I would appreciate that. But again, I'm not demanding anything, I am just asking, and if you don't want to, that's completely okay. But if you could just, if you are going to do that, if you could do that now, that would be great, while I pick up the cards. I know there are lots of people walking around, so, you know, if you're waiting for there to be no one around because you don't want others to see, you don't want to be bothered, I completely get that. And again, if you don't want to do anything more than you've already done, that's perfectly okay, but I am going to be packing everything up now, so I'm going to give you one more opportunity. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for this. I appreciate that so much. I appreciate your cooperation. Thank you so much for talking to me. I hope that I didn't bother you at all. And I'm just very thankful that you answered my questions. And I wish you nothing but peace. When the buildings are done, fully done with all the constructions, I hope you like them. And that's about it. So you have made today wonderful. You've given me a lot of joy being able to have some evidence here. So thank you for that. And I will be saying goodbye now. Oh, one more light went on. I think that was their goodbye. Selena Spooky Boo, who I mentioned earlier, has ghost hunted in a place in town, and I do feel that I am being led to investigate there as well, because the building, its street number is one of the number sequences that I have been frequently seeing for the past 2 years, and the frequency of which I see these number frequencies is just like, or number sequences, it's becoming to the point where I can no longer call it a coincidence. So I do feel that I need to work my way up to investigating that building and visiting places that are like public, where I can visit it, or at least visit the edge of it like I did today, so that I can have a few of these videos under my belt before I go and ask permission to ghost hunt inside of someone's establishment. That's what I'm trying to do here. I do feel that working my way up to ghost hunting in that building where Selena had ghost hunted will be a pivotal point for my channel and for my life as a whole. So I feel like I'm really working up to something that is going to kind of change everything for me. And as I was saying some affirmations to myself on my way to the investigation that you saw in this video, I saw a black butterfly, which I usually only see white butterflies, or the ones that kind of look like monarch butterflies, but they're much smaller. I have never really taken notice of black butterflies in the area, and I looked up the spiritual significance, and they seem to signify rebirth, renewal, transformation, things like that, which pertains to some of the affirmations that I was saying to myself. Also, in between the tarot reading that I did and the full-on conversation that I had with the spirit, a guy came up to me because he thought that I was like doing nature photography, and he saw the tarot cards, and he just started going like, oh, tarot cards are bad, you shouldn't use them, they lie to you, what you need is Jesus. And I stopped him and I said, like, I have very strict boundaries against people like bringing up Christianity to me because of past trauma. It's a very strong boundary, and for some reason, him hearing that made him ask, and I quote, "Are you one of those woke lefties?" And he did continue speaking. I'm not going to quote all of it, but it was about 20 minutes, I want to say, of him speaking, not really to me, but at me. And I didn't know, how safe it was to be around this guy, so I was sort of like eyeing my equipment the whole time. And I think the spirit that I spoke to after the guy left had been privy to the conversation, the one-sided conversation that I had just had with him. And I think since I determined that it was a female spirit and that she had been a teacher, and the school was a historical building, she would have experienced a lot of men talking down to her like that in her lifetime. And I think her sort of looming around and seeing me having to put up with that guy made her feel sympathetic to me. I noticed that, again, there wasn't any activity on the EMF whenever someone was walking by, so there was reluctance from her. I don't know for sure that she would have communicated with me at all if not for seeing that I had a not very nice interaction, and I think she was like, okay, let me give you a good interaction. So even though the guy was annoying, I also feel like it was a blessing in disguise, because I don't know if she would have communicated at all if not for seeing me having to put up with that guy just before I made contact with her. Also, even though the interaction with him was unpleasant, I do think it was supposed to happen in order for me to see a specific sign, which was that he had a cast on his arm that was covered in this really bright neon orange tape, and orange is my favorite color, so seeing my favorite color on something that shows something that has been broken is now healing at a time where one of my affirmations that I brought up earlier is to begin healing physically and mentally in a lot of ways. It feels like that was double confirmation on top of seeing that butterfly, as well as the fact that his cast was on his left hand and left arm, and I'm a lefty, so that was interesting to me. Like, I don't know if it meant anything, but if you're to buy into being spiritual and getting signs, like, I sort of took it as a sign for myself, so not really part of the investigation, but I did find it interesting.